What's up, you beautiful fucking people? Welcome back to another episode of the Unaligned and Unfiltered podcast. Today, I'm joined by Allie from Haven Well Pilates. She is an amazing person in the scoliosis community. She inspired me a lot from her story. She had fusion at a young age and just took that fusion by the horns and honestly made a beautiful life out of it, and is teaching us all how to trust our bodies and keep moving despite having a fusion. And yeah, so welcome, Allie.
Thanks, Jack. I'm excited to be here. I'm pumped to just talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So take me on. I know you were fused. I found the date. It looks like you were fused December 27th. But what year and what age? Take me on that journey of being diagnosed and then all the way to fusion.
Yeah. So I feel like my diagnosis story is somewhat common. I had no idea I had anything going on with my spine. My school did one of those, it was like 8th grade, one of those routine screening things where the school nurse comes in and you roll forward and whatever. And I left there with a piece of paper saying that I had scoliosis or that I should look into it. So I'm like, okay, cool. My parents took me to just the regular doctor. They did a whole bunch of x-rays and they were like, yeah, you have a double curve, which is kind of a blindside for a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
So from there, I went to a specialist. I grew up in Atlanta, so I had really good access to different pediatric and adult specialists, which is such a gift. But I went to a pediatric specialist first who basically said, no, we're not going to do much. Just you're not done growing. Let's, wait and see. How many times have we heard that? Wait and see.
The wait and see theory.
Right. Wait and see for what? Wait and see
I don't
for
get it.
what? Oh, me either.
Gets me every time.
So, right. From there, I went to a spine center, Emory Spine in Atlanta, and I actually wore a brace for about 6 months. I was in an experimental brace, which was not a fun time. Had a conversation with a couple of other fusion ladies recently, and we were just bitching about our braces, honestly, and what a ride. But they decided ultimately that bracing was not really doing much for me besides making me ache all the time. So from there, I went into surgery. This was less than 6 months after my diagnosis. I was diagnosed maybe 7, 8-ish months, but from the time I was bracing to the time I went into surgery was about 6 months. So yes, I'm so right. Yeah. And it was all a blur, honestly. It was a big thing. I was 14. It was 2007. And I love that you found the date. I don't know where I have it published, but
I think you celebrated your anniversary in 2020 when I was doing research on you.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't do math.
Fair.
So I was like, I have to ask Allie when this was.
Yes. No, you're good. You're good. But the funny thing about that date is when I started doing Pilates training, I wanted my final test out to be on that date because it just fell that I was done with my training in December and I was I want December 27th because I was I'm rewriting history and reclaiming my, reclaiming my power. Yeah. So I'm when you said that, I was oh, she's from that date. Yeah.
Aw.
But yeah.
Wow. I can't believe how close together that was. So 2007, you were 8th grade. So how old were you? You were 14 for your surgery?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So my freshman year of high school, I started with a brace, which was just so come on, you're a teenager, and you're
freshman year.
Right. And then December of my freshman year, had surgery and was out of school for 6 weeks or whatever, and
then you just go back.
And then you just go back. They're okay, good luck, bye.
Oh my god. Even at I guess. Because I know, we've kind of, talked about, the community online talks about, there's no post-op support. Even you feel as a kid at 14 years old, they just were here's surgery and then just go back to school. They didn't tell you anything?
Yeah, I mean, No.
They're so, I believe you. It just makes me angry
Yeah.
for little Allie. Like, that's just so frustrating.
Yeah, me too. I remember like before surgery, they taught me how to get in and out of bed with a log roll,
Yeah.
so you don't twist your spine or whatever. Um, and then they were like, okay, don't lift anything over like, 5 pounds until we see you again. And then once they cleared me, it was like, okay, bye. Yeah, which honestly was fine for me for a while. I didn't have any issues,
Okay.
until I hit college, and I started just like continuing this story. This is how I ended up in fitness, I
Yeah.
guess. But I ended up at an internship at a desk job, and I was sitting all day, and I started getting like nerve pain and just general stiffness,
Yep.
and ended up looking into all that. It was kind of a convoluted, like up and down. Let's try pain meds. Let's try this. Let's try PT. And it was just kind of like again, good luck.
Good
Like
luck. With
we don't really, yeah.
That's so, even like with PT, did they mention the word Schroth when you were younger, or was it just like your classic PT? Because that was my experience. I did plain physical therapy for years.
Yeah. Yeah. The approach of the physical therapist that I work with was like pain management. Let's stretch you. And, there was no like, maybe we try and not fix your curve, but maybe we try to like stabilize it or
like
nothing.
work out
No
with
Schroth.
it. Yeah, that's so.
Right. Yeah. Or like, none of that. Schroth was a word that I didn't hear until I was like in my 20s.
Yeah. Like literally, probably like a year ago, I heard about Schroth, and I'm like 8.5 years post-op now.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
I guess just because I'm curious, because I think you're like the first person. I know like Meredith kind of had like her stretchy brace, but like kind of want to go backwards a little bit. Take me on that journey of being in a brace, like being a young girl in high school and needing to like be in this brace, because you have to be in them for like hours, right, at a time.
Yeah. So the one that I had, basically you could have, I think it was like an hour break a day, and you could take that in 30 minutes and 30 minutes or whatever. But yeah, you're supposed to sleep in it, work out in it. I don't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of it is kind of hazy because I blocked it out.
I feel like we do that. That's okay.
Right? Coping mechanisms. Yeah. Hello. I honestly just remember it being so like limiting because it felt like a turtle shell. I felt like in early high school, you're just starting to figure out like who am I and what's my style and that kind of thing. And I remember going shopping with my mom and having this brace on and being like, well, this shirt shows like every little, it had like, buckles and little cranky things. And I'm like a robot. And then it would dictate like, okay, I wear one of those shirts that like comes at your waist and then like kind of floofs out a little bit because that's all I really felt comfortable wearing. And like I said, I grew up in Georgia. And so in August, when the school year started, I'm wearing like a tank top so that it doesn't chafe the mess out of my armpits.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
It wasn't fun. It was, and we knew going into it that it was an experimental brace, and it wasn't all that different from like a Boston brace, like a hard shell one, but it just had extra little like ratchety things that you would break down.
It's just like,
oh my gosh.
Wow, a blast from the past. I was just curious. I just wonder like how you felt, because I never was introduced to the brace, so like I just always have to ask when I hear someone like actually had an experience with it. Like, how was that?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people feel the same way. They're like, this thing is just like huge and uncomfortable, and you need to be in it all the time. So
yeah. And honestly, I feel like I'm a little bit lucky. I only wore it for 6 months because some people wear it for years and years, and then they still have surgery. And like,
I would just be, I don't know. I guess I guess like we each like, if we put our journeys like in the table, we'd all pick up our own journeys, but it's just like crazy to think
For
like
sure.
we all share this huge similarity, but like some of us don't even experience the price. It's wild.
Right. Right.
Um, so you were doing your internship and you were sitting at your desk all day, you started being in pain, and is that kind of what led you like into Pilates and all this good stuff you're doing now?
Yeah, yes and no. So that was, gosh, after my like sophomore year of college.
Okay.
So I'm about to be 32. So this all feels like yesterday and also a lifetime
I get
ago. And I'm
that.
like, whoa. Um, but I ended up going to see another pain specialist in Atlanta. By that time, my surgeon had retired, so it wasn't really an option to go back and see him,
Okay.
nor do I think he would have really helped. But they determined, like, hey, we think you have some disc issues at the bottom of your spine. Maybe you just need to stretch more, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. So, right. Yeah, exactly.
Always such
Um,
a simple answer. Just dress. Wait
yeah.
and see. Dress.
Right, right. Let's just see. Let's just see what happens. Okay. I ended up in my later 2 years of college getting into running, which sounds like the complete opposite of what I should have been doing. But one of my roommates and I got on this crazy kick, and we would get up at like 5:30 or 6 a.m., go to the campus gym, and I say running. I'm more of a jogger.
Okay.
I'm a proud member of like the Turtle Runners
Yes,
Club.
me too.
And then we would do, why were we obsessed with planks? I don't know, but we did planks and something about just moving and I guess the core work. I had no idea what I was doing. I majored in journalism. Like, I don't know any of this. Right? I'm like, yeah. But I just kind of got into a routine. And so I felt better moving. I had to take a mandatory gym class and I took swimming
Ooh.
because low impact and I didn't know anything about swimming. Um, it was fun. It was great. Just kind of adding to my toolkit. And then after I graduated, I moved from Atlanta to Nashville. And a friend invited me to a bar class, and I was hooked. I mean, there's no major jumping, running, you're still working, but I just felt graceful for the first time, maybe since my surgery, because, we're walking brick
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I can kind of channel my inner dancer. Um, yeah, and I ended up training to be an instructor in bar. Loved that. Had a blast. Decided I wanted to go deeper. And that's when I found a studio here in Nashville that was scoliosis centric and trained there.
So there's actually
Yeah.
a scoliosis place in Nashville?
Yeah,
That's
right.
really
There's
cool.
multiple now. It's kind of cool. I know. Trained there for, well, yeah, trained there, worked there for 3 years, and then in 2021, branched out on my own. So that's like the short version. But in all honesty, like I think just getting moving made me a little more like, all right, this is the body that I have. Let's own it and not just like be pissed about it all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I feel
and
that.
that's kind of still how I approach things. Yeah,
I feel like there's
there's a
such
big piece
a
of acceptance.
yeah, I feel like I'm finally I don't know. Well, I feel like maybe you can relate to this because you had your surgery younger too. I feel um after surgery, like I just now, like this last year has really been like finding, oh wow, I don't have to be angry. There's ways to do things. Like, but how did you like I just find it so cool that you because if it wasn't for I guess our community that I found from starting all this, I would kind of be in the same spot of like still doing things, like trying to get back to the old me, trying to work out the way I used to. Like I just find it really
Hmm.
amazing that you found your own way to move. Like I just find that amazing. Like what would you do you feel like that's normal for us with fusions to like I feel like it takes a long time for us to like catch up to like what's happened to us and what we've been through. Do you feel like that's accurate with your journey
Yeah,
too?
for sure, for sure. I don't, I don't think it really hit me until I was in Pilates training. Because I was like, I mean, I was 14 when I was fused. Pain started hitting when I was like in 1920. And then it kind of, up and down. And I was like, this is cool. Like, if this stays the way it is the rest of my life, I can just manage it. But um, as I got into bar training and Pilates training, there were things that I realized like my body physically cannot do. And I don't even like talking like that because I'm like, can't is all in your head. But there are limitations, and they are real, and they need to be respected. And I remember like one night during my training, I mean, it's already like physically and emotionally grueling days because it's like all crammed into 2 days on a weekend, at least the training that I went through. And then you kind of fly through a bunch of exercises, and then you practice teach them, and then you have lots more student teaching hours and that kind of thing. But I came home from a training, and it was just, my husband was getting ready for bed, and I went downstairs to like get water or something. And I just sat on the steps and I just cried. And I don't know where it was coming from. I mean, I do now, but then I was like, this is just hard. And as I look back on it, a lot of it was comparison, looking at all of these. I trained with people who had dance backgrounds, and I was the only fused person in the room. Like, there are different ways of moving, obviously, when you have a rod in your spine. And so looking at all of that, I think my gut reaction was like, I'm incapable and I'm less than because my body doesn't move that way. And I think that night where I just blubbery lost it was the first breaking of the dam of grief,
That body grief is real, and they don't talk about it.
No.
They don't talk about anything that affects us, from this major fucking surgery. It's just,
I know.
It frustrates me to no end because it's just if you would have just given the tools, listen, this is going to be a hard journey. You're going to have to learn to let go of the self that you were before surgery and find a new way to love the person that you're slowly going to become and that you are now after surgery. And it's just it kind of actually made me think about one thing that you're specialized in is this is for bringing up our trauma here, trauma informed Pilates. I saw that you're what is that? Can you take me on that journey? Because I found that to be really cool that that's even a thing.
Yes. Okay, so I found the reason I never labeled my surgery or my scoliosis journey as trauma. I started seeing a therapist, which mental health is also a huge piece of my journey. Started seeing a therapist out of college, and we were talking about all this, and I guess she just looked at me one day and she was like, "You don't consider that to be a big life event?" And I was like, "No, it just was. I was 14, and I don't think I'd stopped to process it really." So once I started thinking oh, maybe that is trauma, and then there are other pieces of my story in my past that I started seeing no, that's not normal. And I actually ended up seeking out trauma-informed yoga classes, or I think they call it trauma-sensitive yoga. There was a studio, I live just outside of Nashville in Franklin, and there was a studio 10 minutes from my house. Yes, it's great. Franklin's wonderful. But there was a studio super close to where I lived at the time that did these TSY classes. And I was like, that's super cool. They ended up shutting down in COVID, which is a huge bummer. But it kind of, it planted the seed in me to be like, all right, what would it be like for me to teach that way? Because when I found these classes, I was starting Pilates, I was doing bar, and it was just kind of a side thing for me. And a few years ago, I found this woman named Beth Sandlin, and she does a trauma-informed Pilates training. And I kind of dragged my feet because I was like, this is going to be really heavy. And it was. But it is so, a lot of it is, how trauma makes us process differently. Literally, it changes our brain and changes our nervous system and changes how we respond to things. But a lot of it was offering choice and autonomy in my teaching. So, for example, sometimes it'll be like, okay, do you want to try it this way, or do you want to try it this way, or neither? And for me, I feel like that kind of passes responsibility in a good way to whoever I'm teaching, because trauma takes your choice away, right? It just kind of happens to you, and you're like, okay, now I'm left to pick up the pieces.
Pretty much.
And
Scrambling.
Right? Like, and
gotta find the
even those little, even the little like day-to-day choices, I had to realize too, like, I have a choice. I can do this thing that makes my body hurt, or I can find a new way to do it. And that's like when you say I move my own way, it's born out of that.
Yeah.
I can hurt myself, or I can accept that my body is different, find something different to do that's equally as cool, and move on.
Right. But I mean, you make it sound so easy, but I know it's not, because you've been, once you have to do the work, and then like, I'm personally at the point of like resisting. And I'm like, it's like, because I feel like you gain all this information, like you found that, and you're like, okay, and now I can either like stare at it and not use it, or I can step into this process. And I just think it's, it takes a lot to step into that. So like, that's where I say, like, it's amazing that you stepped into your new way of movement, and you stepped into finding, how can I better Allie's life, instead of like, like being angry, or like that comparison of like, why weren't these things given to me? Like, that's kind of like where, I guess where I am, because now I'm like, there's people, got you, Allie, online showing me like all these great things I can do with my fusion. But then like, there's like a part of you, like there's a part of me that's like, well, I can't do anything until I get my newest MRI. Like, do you ever do like, I feel like sometimes we put roadblocks in our own way. Like,
for sure.
So frustrating.
For sure. And I don't know if you relate to this, because what word did you, resistance? You're like in the resistance phase. I feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely not black and white. I haven't reached this point where I'm like, every day I accept my body. Like, some days I wake up, okay, somebody said I can't do something, I'm going to shove it. There's definitely still some attitude in here. Oh, for sure. I think that'll always be there, because in a weird way, some part of me wants to be normal. And I always say, like, normal is overrated. And the reality is, most of us have some kind of body issue, whether it's not, it's not fusion, but maybe it's like something that's chronic, whatever. But some days I'm like, I just want to pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The weirdly ironic thing about finding so much community with other people who have fusions is I spent a lot of time being like, well, my fusion's not going to be my whole identity. Like, I'm a whole person, and I don't need that to lean on. But the more I have leaned into people who have similar experiences, like you and like Meredith and like all these other people who I have online, it makes me feel more normal.
Yeah.
It's almost like, it just feels so like backwards.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so strange, but it's, the more I have accepted it, the more I feel like a little more at home in my body, and there's less fear. But definitely still roadblocks.
I think that it's so true with like, it's hard to, darn, where'd my thought just go? Love when that happens.
I left the building.
Oh, come back in a moment. But, oh, come on. I really do hate when this happens. Sorry, people. But if you've listened to me, you know this
You're
happens.
fine.
My brain farts are a thing.
Listen, if anybody's tuning in for perfection here, it's fine. Like, go away.
Unaligned and
This is
unfiltered.
real. Again.
Unaligned ADHD
Right.
and spinal.
Right. Did you read the title? Thanks.
Shit. But okay, what you were saying about like making it your whole identity. I feel like that's so true, but it fucking is. Like I don't like I think that's something I'm realizing. I'm like, oh, I don't want to make this, and I'm like, no, but it is, Jack. Like this whole thing is a part of you, and just because you've been walking and doing life for all these years without these people like you, Meredith, that like people in this community, it can feel as if like you're stepping into like the life that it's meant for you, the life with boundaries and the life of like understanding these are my needs and I'm not being dramatic. Like this is a thing because I have a fusion. So
yes. Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's wild how long I hate how long it takes. Like I guess I just wish everyone who goes through this like didn't have to go through like this, you know, the isolation that you went through. Like I feel like we all go through like such this huge isolation, and then it's like broken with like community, and you're like, what? Like look at us. I'm literally speaking to someone that has a fusion. Like it's crazy to me. I would have never.
Right.
It's like my wildest dream. It's so cool that we exist.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that we exist and all of our scoliosis, I say all of our scoliosis women because I feel like most of us are
it affects
women
us
in this community. Yes. But this, I feel like we are the pioneers a little bit. It's the Wild West because it sounds like you and I both had this just like generic, like, okay, we don't really know what to do with you. So like, good luck.
Bye.
Right. And we were left to deal with it on our own. And now we're like, hold up. There's more of me. There's more people like me out there. And even like, not to sound like a boomer, but with social media blowing up, we can connect. I mean, that's how we found each other. That's how I found most of my people. And we can connect so much more easily than we used to be. And it gives me hope for people who are having this surgery now or walking through this journey now to be like, okay, I don't know how much the medical perspective on it has changed, but I know that there's support outside of that we didn't have. And I think myself included, a lot of us are rooted in like, I want to create what I didn't have because I know that sucked.
Yep. Fuck yeah.
And I want something different. Yeah, I want something different for the people walking through this now. And I've learned, and I'm going to take my journey and help other people. And it's cool. I do kind of feel like
I do agree. I love that word, pioneers, because I feel like it's true. Like, you know, like not to like, I mean, fuck yeah, toot your own horn, people. That's what we do. Gotta toot your horn. Gotta toot your fucking horn.
You're on your own podcast. You're allowed to do that. Own it.
So like, it's nice because it is like, it does like heal my like inner child a little bit. I'm like, oh, I get to like be there for someone who's, you know, 14 or in their early 20s having this life-changing surgery, and you actually get to be like, hey, it is life-changing. It is traumatic. You are like, your feelings are valid instead of just
like you don't have to downplay it.
Yeah, because I feel like they downplayed it. Like, first of all, they tell you to wait and see, and then they're like, just kidding, you need surgery. Like, how did wait and see go to like this? Like, like the whole condition is just downplayed, and it's just like so frustrating to me. So you're right. I definitely feel like it's nice to know that we're changing, like helping people, because it's nice to know. It makes me happy.
It's full circle, you know? Yeah, it's like it was all for a reason, and I don't like that whole like, oh, everything happens for a reason. But sometimes you discover the reason years later, and you're like, oh, I was meant to walk through that so that I could help someone else or just be there. And so that this community that we found would be all the more sweeter.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, I lived in isolation for so long, and now this is like,
it is the best. It's the best of it is literally like I said, just finding people who share similarities. It's just the best thing ever.
Yeah. You don't have to explain yourself. You're like, we live through the same thing, and you get why, like, I mean, Meredith and our friend Shelby and I joke all the time about, like, you get why I'm like, oh, an uncomfortable chair.
Yeah.
I don't have to explain anything. You know, stupid stuff like that.
No, I will not. I will not. This, like, no. Actually, I just think about, like, when you go, like, out to eat with everyone, and you're like, oh, my God, like, please let it be a booth. Please let it be a booth. Like, please let it be.
Yeah.
And then you just see, like, these terrible wooden chairs. But now I actually know what Scully props are. And those are so beneficial that you can, like, put them behind a wooden chair and, like, it fills in the cracks.
For sure.
I used that.
For sure.
For my first time.
Well, and, like, you know, we were talking about how we don't want our fusion to be our whole identity. And yet, like, there's this slow realization that, like, it is your life.
Yeah.
I have fully nerded out on ways to, like, adapt my life to my body. So to your point about, like, carrying a prop everywhere, I don't really have, like, props or anything in my car, but I flipped my car headrest. I, like, zhuzhed the lumbar support, and my husband knows, like, you better not mess with that because that is for my spine. Like, you know, stuff like that. Or I like to garden, and so I bought this little, I call it my tractor seat, like a tractor thing, and it's like, it's a little cart on wheels because
that's so
this body is not, it's just little stuff like that where when I finally realized, oh yeah, this would be easier to enjoy if I just accepted the fact that, like, maybe I need to sit down. It doesn't matter if, you know, Meredith and I talked the other day about sitting down in the shower, and she bought a shower
I need a chair.
And it's like,
to this point, I need a chair. Why does the shower make me more tired? Is it the texture?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Because you're standing there and you just, I don't know. But just to your point about, like, I don't want this to be my whole life.
But it is.
But the more that I, like, the more I, like, adapt to it and accept the fact that this is my life, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, it's not a big deal anymore.
Yeah. Like, I guess it's like the realization, like, okay, this is a necessity. Like, it's not just a want. Like, if I actually notice, like, this is going to make something easier, like gardening, something that you enjoy. You don't want to, like, give it up or be mad at it because you can't, like, sit a certain way and do it. So now, instead of that, you're just, like, honoring your body, coming up with an idea that, like, is something that's able to make you do the things that you love more comfortably for you. So I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like
for sure
that's such a hard place to get to. So, like, thank you, because it's nice to hear, like, other, you know, we all go through it, but it's just nice to talk about it because, like, even when I'm cooking, I'm like, okay, well, today's a chair day. We're going to need a chair to cook.
Yeah. You want to do it. Like, just drag up a chair to the stove and sit there. Like, it's fine. Yeah. Yeah. I get that, though.
What would you say to, I guess, someone like myself, people who are just, like, realizing that all these resources are there? Because I feel like sometimes it's just so much. There's so many resources. There's so many, you know, different ways to move, from, like, Pilates, and then you have, like, your Schroth and your breathing. What would you say to someone on their fusion journey who's just really starting to understand there's so much out there and so many ways to do things? How would you break it down for them to start?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I would say it does take time to figure out what works for you. And it's all just a big trial and error, which can be frustrating and can be overwhelming. But honestly, start with what you have. So if you're like, okay, I haven't worked out in, I don't know, that was me in college when I decided to start running and apparently doing planks a million times a day. But I didn't have any real body knowledge, but I knew I could walk on a treadmill and I knew I could goof off with my roommate while we're blasting Taylor Swift at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And it worked. I think sometimes we overcomplicate it. And I, even now on days when I'm like, I don't know what to do, because it's easy to still get overwhelmed, even though I like do this for a living. I don't know what to do. I'm like, let's just put shoes on and walk around the block. That's it. Just to get up from sitting there. Like the getting up and starting is the hardest part sometimes. So if there is anything that even remotely appeals to you, if you're sitting there like, I want to start moving, but I don't know how, okay, maybe you think about like, all right, does yoga appeal to me? No? Okay, then don't do yoga. Does a cycling class appeal to me? Okay, go and try one. Like, you know your body has limits, and so showing up and saying, even to, let's take the cycling example, showing up to a class and saying, hey, FYI, like, I'm infusion, I've never done this, and just being honest, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, let's just recognize that. That's something that I talk to people a lot about. Is like kind of having an elevator pitch of like, okay, this is my sign. This is what I'm going to say to an instructor or somebody that I want to work with, and just trying it, because you might find something you love, or you might be like, that was the worst thing ever.
I'm never doing this again.
Great. Right. You eliminated something off your list, and that's still progress. It's so slow. Like, I've been teaching for 7 years, question mark. No, it's hard. 7 years.
Hard. I don't do math.
Right? And I still date things 2021, so I'm like, I don't know. Time warp.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this a while, and I just now in the last couple of years have been like, I think I sort of accept my body now. And that's hard because it takes time. I wanted to be able to snap my fingers and be like, this is my thing. I can rock it. But yeah, I would tell people to look for something that makes you feel strong. I think a lot of times we're told, or at least it's like alluded to, that, oh, you're weak and you're fragile and you're whatever.
Yeah.
And there's two sides to that coin. Because like, yeah, you don't want to go and, I don't know, do something. I can't even think of an example. Bungee jumping. Don't they tell us not to go bungee jumping?
I don't know if I would ever want to do that. Although I zip lined upside down, so I don't know.
Ooh.
That was fun.
Okay. I bet that would feel pretty good. It decompresses you a little bit.
It was pretty nice. But
right?
But bungee jumping, I feel like the shock of like I don't know if that would be fun.
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, you don't have to go extreme and like try bungee jumping, but you also don't have to be like, I can't leave my house. Like, fear is a huge piece.
Fear is a huge. I feel like they instill that in us more than anything else. Like, the fear of movement. It's just like a mind game that you really just need to. And the fact that like we get ourselves there because no one else was there is just wild to me.
Yeah.
They do.
No, I get that.
They totally do make you feel like you're just like fragile and you can break. And it's just like, now that I know that that's not true, that's nice. But when you're in it, you're just like, oh, it's so scary.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's almost like is it possible to break something? Sure. Yes. It's very real, and but as long as you're not, going from one extreme to the other, again, bungee jumping, like, don't try bungee jumping. Maybe start with, again, a walk around the block, or like, because for me, I think my journey has been to slowly test my limits. It's like, okay, can I do that thing? Yes, no. It's like a flow chart that doesn't have any like bubbles. You just write the bubbles as you go.
That's great. Yeah.
And
that's a good way to put it.
You try one thing and it leads to another, or it shuts a door and you're like, okay, let's take a different path. But it's so much trial and error. And I think the value of having this community is in the in the waiting and in the trying and the frustration of not finding what you're looking for, we need the support.
Yeah. To just,
So,
yeah, to know that like that's okay. You're I feel like everything has, everyone has, like, they eventually find what they love and what helps them move. And for you specifically, I know it's like it's Pilates, it's other things, but what would you say? So I saw one of your posts, like you were doing a Pilates move while you were gardening. Do you feel like Pilates, just because I've never taken a Pilates class or anything like that, do you feel like Pilates, you can like,
we should change that.
I know. I know. But does Pilates like help you in everyday movement, would you say?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of the method itself just lends itself to like awareness. And so let's say when I'm getting laundry out of the washing machine and putting it into the dryer, I know like, or let's say, around, because I have a few little unfused vertebrae. And will they move and like move me like this? Yeah, sure. But that doesn't feel great the next day. So I've learned, okay, we hinge, we squat, we whatever. And that sounds really nerdy and like nobody is going to sit there and think squat while they're doing their laundry, Allie. But eventually it does become ingrained. Like your body and your nervous system learns, okay, I can actually reach the floor really easily if I just bend my knees.
Yeah.
Right. And then I don't have to think about it when I go to move the laundry, put something in my car, pick something up. So yeah, for sure. And I think that's the way my brain works. Now that I have like the trained eye, I can't unsee how functional some of this movement is. And I'll focus a lot on, people will walk in here, even those that don't have fusions, and they'll say, I need to be able to pick up my grandson. This is a real example from last week. He has a little bed on the floor and I need to be able to pick him up. And so we worked on wide-legged squats so that she felt stable and could pick him up. Stuff like that. That's just, yeah. And I think I lean more into that because people like you and I have to adapt our bodies anyway. So we might as well adapt them in a way that like doesn't cause more pain.
It feels good.
Right.
I'm terrible these days. I need to get moving. Like I woke up this
Listen,
morning.
It's a work in progress.
So bad. And I was like reading about
good.
like, oh, why? And like how like shoulders and like, so I'm like, I just need to learn more. But like you said, it's a slow process.
And it comes in seasons, Sometimes like right now I'm on a running kick again and I'm like, I'm feeling it. Like this is great. And sometimes I'm like, I don't even want to get up. Like I think it's also normal, especially for people living with, a special spine or a special body or whatever. The motivation is not always
no.
And on the days when it's like, on the days when it's like minimal to zero, okay, meet yourself where you're at. Like, it's fine. The world is not going to end and you're not going to die tomorrow if you don't do that workout you had planned and instead you just like take a little lap and call it a day.
Yep. I've also like, I don't know if anyone else, but I feel like I have started to, like you said, meet yourself where you're at. Like if I wake up and it's just a bad I have like, ADHD, I have my low dopamine and like my stupid fucking depression. Like if you can't move, like exercise in bed is real. Like I've started to do like things like little movements, even if you can't get out of bed. Like it's just been like so helpful to meet yourself where you're at. So I love that you said that.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
And it's real. And the more you try to force your body to do something that it's not ready for, the more it's going to be like, no, screw you.
Yeah. I guess I feel like another thing about community, you get so inspired. Like, like seeing you and like your journey, like you get so inspired by all these people and you have to take a step back and be like, okay, we're still not comparing. We can't do that.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, I want my journey to go quicker. I want to like be knowledgeable and all these things.
Yeah.
But it's like, calm down, step back.
Yeah. Yeah, and you nailed it, like 100%. There's a fine line between inspiration and comparison. I have to check myself regularly on like, okay, are we using that person's really cool example as a way to beat me up? Or are we using it as a way of like, wow, I'm so happy for them. They're showing me what, they're capable of, and maybe I could be, but I don't have to be because I'm already worthy. Like
Yep.
I can rabbit hole into the like, oh, I'm not that good. And yeah,
Why do we
but
go
I'm
there?
trying to teach
I feel
myself.
like that's
Yes,
the
like,
first destination I want to go. It's like, why do I suck so much? It's just like, you don't suck.
right. It's a reprogramming. It's like literally we're rewiring our brain. That's another thing that I learned in the trauma stuff, like living back to that. It's literally we're rewiring circuits. And I do think a lot of us on our journey, again, have been told over and over, like, you're fragile, you're limited, you're whatever. And some of that may be true in like a nuanced way, but also these things are true. Like, I'm strong, I'm resilient, I'm capable, I can try new things. And it's making those the default that is the work.
Yeah, it's literally that.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
and then it's just like, okay, I know this takes time. So it's like, instead of like, if that bad thought comes up, it's like, oh, fragile, or and it's just like replacing it right away with the positive one and just forgetting about it. But like, I love to like linger there, make myself feel more like crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't know why.
Well, and you were talking about like depression and mental health. Like, yes, been there too. And I think when depression sets in, which is real easy to do when you're living with something chronic,
Yeah.
that's where we all go. Like, it's just, everything is dull, and we need help. And yes, community help, but also like reaching out for actual professional help, like going to a therapist, that kind of thing. Because, we were talking about how we didn't really acknowledge this as a trauma earlier. It is.
It's like, I was like, what?
Hi.
It's like, wow,
Yeah.
this whole thing is traumatic on top of all the trauma I did before my surgery. Like, what? No way.
I know.
And it's
I know.
so much to learn still. Even like, I'm sure you can like say you still are learning so much, even though you have learned so much already. It's just an endless cycle of learning.
It's both. Yeah. It's like, wow, I've learned a lot. And also, wow, yeah, exactly. And I think that's why I love my work so much, because the human body is crazy. And there's always more to learn about it.
Yeah.
Which is fun. And also like, whoa. Yeah.
The human body, I can't believe how much it can do. I mean, look at us. We're like literally like walking examples of what the human body can do. And I feel like sometimes we forget that. So we're just like a walking miracle, in my opinion.
Yeah. And we're resilient. Like, the fact that we're still showing up, it's resilience. So you are in a place on your journey. I'm in a place on mine. And yet we're both resilient because we choose to get up and live another day. Like,
exactly.
It's for real.
It is. I feel like it's not appreciative enough. Is that the right word? Appreciative enough.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
I know what you mean.
Like the little things, like just getting up day to day with, it's not an easy journey to walk a chronically pained life. And just it's so true when you say like we are resilient, and we just need to really just appreciate the good things about it more. Like you said, that rewiring, so important.
Yeah. Easier said than done sometimes.
Very true.
But yeah.
I definitely need to take a Pilates class.
Yes.
I know. I'm
yes.
I'm just nervous. There it is. There's my fear. I'm like, I'm nervous.
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be nervous. So when I actually rebranded my studio, I used to be just like Pilates with Allie prior to this year. And my legal business name was Haven Wellness. And I kind of started that. And I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to do with this, but I want it to be a kind of umbrella name. But I chose Haven because I feel like so many of us need a safe haven where we can walk in and say, hey, I'm scared.
I love that.
Instead of pretending, you know, because how much freaking energy would it take you, even in this conversation, to be like, oh yeah, I would totally try Pilates, like this would be awesome. No, it's not always that way. That's not our reality because we don't want to hurt ourselves. We've been through enough. We don't want to make things worse. And that's why it's like haven. Like,
I
find
love
your
that.
haven to be well.
That's
Thanks.
a beautiful
Just
name.
like, thank you. Thanks. But we all need that place where it's like, it's okay to be afraid.
Yeah.
We all experience it. Why don't we just freaking acknowledge it? Like,
it's so true. I feel like you hold that too. Like just talking to you, you feel
thanks.
safe and just good to talk to. So I love that.
It's like the best compliment ever. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. You deserve it. What you were doing for, for yourself and just for the community is really, really, really awesome. And I'm just grateful to have met paths, like cross paths with you because I'm grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you're doing the same. You're bringing us all together.
Yeah.
And you're having a great hair day, by the way. So.
Oh, thanks.
I was gonna say, and you look fab while doing it, but I'm like, your hair is it's looking so good over there.
Thanks. I love
But yeah, for real though.
I love curly curls.
We're all out here doing the work. We're the pioneers, truly.
I really love that. Feel like I need to write about that now. That word you really got me with that.
Do it.
Love it.
Do it.
Well, is there anything we didn't talk about you want to touch base on? Do you have anything coming up for Haven Well that you want to talk about? Anything going on?
Gosh. Yeah. Fusion wise, I feel like we covered a lot. It's really cool to just like tell stories, and just again, know that you relate and you get it. And even though we're in different points on our own paths, like we just get it. And this has definitely made me feel like less alone for the day.
Me too.
I love it.
It's literally the best thing in the world, just talking to someone who just shares.
Understands. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But as far as like Haven Well and what's coming up, my hope is to start teaching teachers.
Ooh.
I did a masterclass series in the fall for spinal fusions, expecting to mostly draw people who have fusions. I did one on modifications for Pilates, one on releasing your hips and shoulders, and then one on confidence and the emotional side of things, because obviously that's huge. Yeah, but I was surprised at how many teachers were interested, and it warmed my heart because I don't have that. I know maybe like 2 or 3 other instructors who have a fusion, and I didn't have that. But it was like, oh, people are actually interested in supporting our specific needs. So I'm hoping to do a workshop or some kind of education on Pilates for spinal fusion for teachers.
Yes.
Because
we need more.
Yeah.
That's just so cool.
I'm one person. Yeah. Right. And I was genuinely surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be, because people are way more compassionate than I give them credit for, but I was surprised at how interested teachers were.
That makes me really happy because I feel like we could definitely use, like, it's amazing that you have your own studio and like you're doing that, but it would be so nice if like there were more trained people just in like a regular gym or like somewhere. It's like,
for sure.
So that's amazing that people want to learn, and I love that you're going to be teaching. So that's really
cool. Yeah. Honestly, like, I didn't realize how cool it would be to connect with other people who also have like a movement education background. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, you guys speak my nerd language and you want to know about like the experience. It's almost like taking our fusion community and then taking like the Pilates and movement community and kind of like meshing them.
Ooh,
I'm like, oh, these are my people. Yeah. But then, and also I launched a library of on-demand classes at the beginning of the year, and I'm working on adding to that.
Those are cool. I was browsing your website. I love that you can like rent them and buy them. And I just like that they're there. So you can like have on-demand classes.
Choices.
And then you can just have like a live session with you as well, right?
Right. Yeah. One of the biggest, I mean, I guess struggle. Yeah, it is a struggle. Is to your point, like there's not a lot of us out there, and I mean, not a lot of us as in like movement people who are fusion specific. And so part of why I want online resources and why I want to teach teachers is so that there's a little bit bigger network. Because I've had people reach out to me from honestly all over the world, which is super cool. And say like, I want to work with you, but also I want to work with someone in person. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like we can work together virtually. You can try some online stuff, that kind of thing. But when they go to find someone in person, there's not always somebody there that knows fusion because there's just not.
Yeah.
It's still so new and we're all figuring it out, let alone like people teaching. So my hope is just to kind of expand like people who give a shit about this, like, and want to help and share what I've learned so that they can kind of put their own spin on it and really support more people in the fusion community because we need it.
Yeah, I love it. I love what you're doing. And it's something that I've had in the back of my mind if I ever, start. Well, don't be mean to yourself. Once I just continue, on this journey, because I do think like I'm kind of where you're at. I have a 9 to 5. I'm sitting all day. My back is crying. I literally have behind me. Yeah.
Love it.
So it's just something I've thought about, but I want to take it slow because I feel like it's a journey on its own. Like you explained how you got here, you started teaching and all that, but it's definitely something I'm thinking of, like maybe in the future, because it's just nice that you have a job that's honoring your body and your lifestyle. Yeah. And that's definitely something I want one day. And I guess it just makes, I don't know, do you feel like anyone can get into movement, like teaching? Like, do you feel like it's never too late to?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I trained with a woman who was retired and in her late 60s, and she was like, I just want to do this as like a kind of second fun career.
Yeah.
So no, it's never too late. And even I didn't start out wanting to teach. I started wanting to do the training for myself. Because I at the time was also working, a job, and I was like, well, if I can learn the anatomy and learn movement and that kind of thing, then I can help myself. Well, and then I was like, I actually really love this, and I want to do it as a job. Yeah, for sure. It's a completely different mindset because I think it does. My whole life revolves around like caring for my son. That's what got me here. Yeah. And it's a gift, and it's also, it comes with just completely different approaches to life. Yeah. I don't have the structure per se that somebody in a 9 to 5 might, which is good, but also requires some discipline. So, even if it's something that you do for your own education and then you continue to work in another field or whatever, it's awesome just to have the knowledge and the self-awareness and just see where it leads you. Yeah. Like if you had told me, I don't know, before I started teaching, I would have ended up in my own studio, I would have been like, no, that's dumb. I was a freelance writer at the time, and it just wasn't on my radar. Yeah. But it's kind of like a one thing led to another. So take the next right step. But yes, it is never too late. And I'm going to say, like, it's never a bad thing to learn about your body and whatever interests you.
That's true. I just feel like there's so much to learn. Like, I just started learning about, like, fascia. I'm like, what?
Right?
I'm just like,
yeah.
Crazy.
You're right. And there's so much. But, like, if it's fascinating to you, just read about it. Just freaking Google it, like, Yeah,
I always make
there's no
things more
harm in
complicated.
learning.
I'm like, yeah, it's fair. Just keep reading, just keep doing, and eventually, like, who knows? But
Yeah. And if you feel that, like, deep down, like, maybe I should do something with this, listen to it. You know, you don't have to know what your next action is right away, but
I love it.
maybe you explore it more. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I could talk to you forever. I just feel like whenever I get someone on the phone, like, spinal fusion buddy, let's talk forever.
Yeah, this is so fun. Well, I'm always here. You know where to find me.
Yes.
Yeah. I've loved this. This is awesome.
Fun. Well, Allie, tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So on Instagram, I am at Havenwell Pilates, all one thing, no periods or anything. And then on the interwebs, the intergoogles, if you will, havenwellpilates.com.
Nice.
And those are the two main places.
Yay. Well, I had so much fun talking with you. For all the people listening, I will see you guys in the next episode. Until then, bye.